Alright guys, Shanghai Pete here from Degreelessness with just a little public service announcement for y'all real quick. It's time for the tough talk, okay? Something's fucked up in video games. We all see it. Looks like we've turned a corner in the industry. Culmination of many issues that have been building over the course of the past few years. There's this kind of prevailing sense something has changed, something ineffable that has kind of infected every aspect of this industry we all love. A lot of people kind of tend to see this in a vacuum, like, oh, it's just Fallout 76 that sucks, or oh, Diablo Immortal was just a bad idea, or oh, loot boxes have always been a problem, you know? Granted, these things are all objectively fucking awful, but the truth is that they don't exist in a vacuum. They're all related and symptoms of the same fucking problem. There's a reason that most of us struggle to reconcile a lot of the recent, design choices and stuff that we've been seeing with a company that has had a history of great game design. Look at any modern game release and you'll easily find hundreds of YouTube videos and discussions everywhere on the internet surrounding it, most of which can be boiled down to, some version of like, oh, why would anybody design a system like this? It's obviously not fun. What possible reason could the devs have for making these design choices? These choices are so obviously bad. How is it possible us gamers are noticing, but the devs, who are supposedly professionals at this, don't? Yeah, that's pretty much a good breakdown of what the majority of this kind of criticism says. Understandably, most of us, we don't get it. And it gets even more confusing when comments from the developers seem to always say the opposite of what we're actually seeing. Shit like, we're listening to community feedback, or our goal is to provide the most rewarding, enjoyable experience for our customers that we can. Like, doesn't matter if it's Anthem, Fallout 76, Diablo Immortal, World of Warcraft, fucking whatever. It's always the same argument, and we as gamers inevitably end up just arguing amongst ourselves about what's good, what isn't, why it's good, why it's bad. Oh, this is how you fix it. No, this is how you fix it. And I'll admit, at first it was mildly satisfying, somewhat vindicating, seeing so many people that, apparently were having the same kind of gripes with all these games and the developers that I did. But now, honestly, guys, it's getting practically fucking oppressive. There's a new horror story seemingly every day, regurgitated ad nauseum by every YouTuber across every fucking subreddit about some fresh hell a developer is subjecting its loyal consumers to. And, don't get me wrong, while I share the community's outrage, I'm kind of getting a little tired of it, man. It's like, it's really kind of wearing on me. The most frustrating part is that all this criticism is aimed at the same things, which is the minutia of the game design, why this is bad, why this isn't bad, what's good, how they can fix it, and always people complaining, waiting for the devs to wake up and fix their game. This is apparently what no one understands. These games aren't broken. There's nothing to fix. They're working as intended. The long and inevitable arm of capitalism has finally fully embraced the video game industry. I hate to be the one to break it to y'all, but apparently somebody needs to. As we all know, previously there was only one way to make a game that would be guaranteed to be successful, and that was to make it as fun as possible. There was only one metric that mattered. The more fun a game is, the more people will like it. The more people like it, the more people will buy it. And the more people buy it, the more profit you make. Simple as that. Unfortunately, most of us, myself included, interpreted this as a genuine desire to make fun entertainment products and not as simply the basic formula for a profitable business in that space that it obviously was. For years, this business model persisted as video games remained niche enough to slide mostly under the radar and skirt the influence of the huge billion-dollar, mega corporations, EA, Activision, whatever. Regrettably, that's no longer the case. Video games are now such a huge industry that it can no longer escape the influence of capitalism, which affects literally every single aspect of our lives, especially if you live over here in the West. And as we all know, in capitalism, anything that doesn't lead to more money is expendable. Ideals, morality, even human lives sacrificed daily on the altar of increased profits without a second thought. You see it in every single industry. The pharma industry, the insurance industry, video games, movies, absolutely everything, that's always the case. Video games are no different. Games are no longer designed primarily to be fun. They're designed to trick people into engaging with them as much as possible by whatever means is cheapest. This is why design changes that to us, the players, clearly make no sense and obviously result in the game being less fun, are still pushed live and implemented. Because a fun game is no longer the goal. Video games are barely even entertainment products anymore. What, does everyone think that Blizzard, BioWare, DICE, etc. just fucking forgot how to make good games out of nowhere? That's fucking insane. And you're naive if that's what you think. Now, before I go any further, just as a side note, it should be mentioned, this is not intended to be an indictment or a critique of capitalism or the free market system in any way. Like it, hate it, whatever, how any of us feel about it is totally irrelevant. We're stuck with it, it's not changing, and no one gives a fuck about you as an individual. No one gives a fuck. So accept it or not, like it or not, this is the way it is. While I won't say there's no point in debating or discussing it, I'm definitely not going to do that here or right now. If you want to see stuff like that, Jim Sterling has some great videos on capitalism and especially on how capitalism affects the video game industry. Go check out his channel. He does great work. Now, with that out of the way, as another example, just look at the Diablo Immortal announcement. People say, oh, how could they have not seen this coming? They did see it coming. They just didn't care. They ran the numbers, gauged the possible revenue loss from the PR backlash that they knew would come against the projected revenue gains from the final product, and came out with a number that indicated the net result would be increased profit, so they did it. Everything distilled down to an equation where the opinions and desires of a loyal customer base became merely an irrelevant variable to be discarded. Nothing more. They don't give a fuck if people hate it. They don't even care if people like it. They don't give a fuck whether or not it's fun, and they certainly don't give a fuck how you feel about the hundreds of microtransactions they're gonna cram into every system they possibly can, or if in doing so, they completely break the game. All they care about is what will make them money, and to a lesser extent, what they can get away with. Even that is a relative metric, since as we've seen, enough money will bury pretty much any amount of bad press, or at the very least, make it irrelevant. Is anyone still talking about Diablo Immortal? No. What about Fallout 76? How's that game going, guys? Is it fun yet? No. Oh, shocking. What about Call of Duty 4? Did they listen to everyone's concerns and fix the microtransaction model? Oh, they didn't. Oh, they didn't. That's right. But people are still playing it, aren't they? And they're still shelling out ludicrous amounts of money for different colored guns and other useless ephemera, right? Lastly, let's check on World of Warcraft's latest expansion. How's Battle for Azeroth going? Quick Google search will tell you that for the most part, everyone fucking hates it. So, have they fixed it? No? Have they addressed any of the concerns put forth by the player base? Oh, they haven't. How could that be? Certainly a product that appears to have been universally rejected by its player base would be affecting their bottom line and thus need fixing, right? No? Activision still reported record profits this past year and then laid off 800 people, pushing forward with their current fucking shit agenda? How could that be? Because it's all going according to fucking plan, that's why. Player satisfaction is no longer the metric upon which the success of a product is measured. Why do you think Activision stopped reporting subscription numbers for World of Warcraft? Because they continue to fall and that's a bad look for the company? Sure, that's part of the reason, absolutely. The main reason, though, is because subscription numbers are no longer an indication of how profitable the game is. The game's profit model switched from monthly subscribers to microtransactions years ago. The thing is, at the time, they were clever and no one fucking noticed. They no longer have to care if anyone likes it as long as they log in and buy something. Exploiting reward loop mechanics in human brain chemistry to ensure a certain percentage of people log in and spend money every month is easier and cheaper than designing gameplay systems that are genuinely enjoyable and keep people playing through investment and dedication. This is essentially the same technique social media apps use to keep you addicted to refreshing your fucking Instagram feed or your goddamn Facebook timeline. So, whether we like it or not, this is now the thinking that motivates every major design change, marketing choice, and creative decision involving any game or IP. Players can't understand it because they're still looking at all this stuff with the outmoded assumption that, ooh, these companies' end goal are to make fun games, players first. It's fucking not. The goal is to make profitable products. Games don't need to be fun anymore in order to make money. It's actually now more expensive for them to be fun, so any enjoyment is axed in favor of increasing profit margins. Expecting a modern AAA video game to be fun is like expecting a steel girder or a brick in a building to be fun. The latter is designed to hold up a building, the former is designed to make money. They're products, nothing more. Entertaining you is simply nowhere in the equation anymore. Sure, it might happen by accident, but it's certainly not the fucking paramount concern, far from it. Take any recent game and its seemingly inexplicable design choices that sparked general outrage and blowback from the gaming community. Apply this methodology. Things start to make a lot more sense now, don't they? You can see how a game like Anthem or Fallout 76, both which are woefully inadequate as actual games and entertainment products, are pushed live. Because they know they're going to make money, and people don't give a fuck if you like it, only if you buy it. The more money a company has, the less plausible deniability they feel they need to afford themselves, and the bolder and more transparent their cash grabs will be. This is why everything out of Activision has recently, or should I say Activision Blizzard, has recently caused such an uproar. They've recently been forced to drop more of the pretense that they're about games first, and thus making it easier to see them for what they are. A business that's interested in one thing above all else, making money. And their consumers, us, understandably, we don't fucking like that. But again, bad news, guys, they don't fucking care. That being said, this type of hyper monetization is still relatively new comparatively to video games as a whole. Sometimes these companies miscalculate. Look at Battlefront 2. There, they slightly overestimated what they could easily get away with. Even then, who's to say that wasn't a carefully calculated and manufactured outrage designed to increase overall product and brand visibility? And who cares if it was? Not consumers, apparently. People certainly forgot about that insane blunder pretty fucking fast and didn't hesitate to throw more money at EA for goddamn Anthem or whatever the fuck else it is they shat out. Same with all the transparent and bizarre attempts at forced inclusion or wokeness, air quotes, we see shoehorned into games that leave the majority of us scratching our heads wondering what the fuck is going on. Don't get it twisted, the only agenda or cause these companies care about supporting is one that their analytics experts have told them stand a reasonable chance of increasing profits. They're all calculated risks intended to increase the accuracy of their analytics and thus profits in a data space that's relatively new. But they're getting better at it. They're going to keep testing limits, poking and prodding to see where they can push and where they can't. And as long as you all keep playing stupid and opening your fucking wallets to buy this garbage, it's just going to get worse. So, you might be saying, alright, why now? Put simply, they're not trying to hide it anymore. It's been going on for a while. They're just slowly giving up any attempts at obfuscation now. Prior to the end of 2018, where I feel like we can all probably agree is where most of this shit came to a head, most companies could maintain the illusion that they still care about their customers above all else, while simultaneously monetizing wherever possible. However, due to increased visibility, YouTube, etc., and scrutiny the video game industry has suffered as of late, combined with more and more ludicrous shareholder expectations, maintaining the customers first illusion is now starting to eat into their bottom line. They discovered there's certain things they can't implement without people noticing that these choices are incongruous with a company that claims to put fun and consumer satisfaction first. Something had to suffer, something had to get cut, and it certainly wasn't going to be the monetization efforts. Like, there's a lot of factors to blame here. I'm not going to go into all of them. I'm certainly not a fucking economist. However, in my opinion, what finally tipped the scales, mobile games. For the first time, these companies were seeing, and I hesitate to even call them games that consumed mere fractions of the standard development time and budget, and yet we're seeing returns far in excess of even the best-selling current AAA titles. These type of profit margins were hard to ignore, especially for a company as big as Activision or EA that has to answer to their fucking legions of shareholders. I can only imagine how difficult it would be to justify the continued funding of huge 200-plus person dev teams for games that would take upwards of 5 years to complete to shareholders that are seeing the same and in many cases higher revenue from games that took barely 10 people a few months to throw together, if that. So, what does this all mean, really? What this all means is that every game is a fucking mobile game now. They may not be on a mobile device, may not use a controller instead of a touchscreen, but make no mistake, the design philosophy governing 99% of all games coming out now, especially in the AAA space, is rooted in a mobile model. Monetization over everything. Fun, enjoyment, creativity, design, all are secondary and expendable. Be upset, be sad, be depressed, be outraged, whatever. But seriously, please stop acting surprised, everybody. Like, this is all according to plan. It's not an accident that Anthem fucking sucks. It's on purpose. They don't care if we like it. They only care if it sells microtransactions and makes money. And looks like it's going to. So, Video games have changed, guys, and they're never going back. There's no mystery here. There's no, oh God, what happened to the developers? Oh, what are they doing? Oh, maybe they need me and my YouTube channel to step in and give them suggestions on how to make the game better. No, there's no mystery here. It's just basic fucking capitalism at work. Capitalism that has finally and completely, fully embraced video games. Sorry. Now, as a sort of epilogue, I'll go ahead and mention that yes, there are exceptions to every rule, even all the points that I've laid out here. There's always exceptions. Sure, CD Projekt Red seems to be immune to these changes for the most part, or at least extremely resilient, for now anyway. The Witcher series was great, Witcher 3 especially. Cyberpunk 2077 looks like it's going in all the right directions for all intents and purposes. Seems like it's going to be phenomenal. Nintendo, as well, appears, at least for the time being, to be able to maintain their core philosophy without utterly gutting the soul from the majority of the games that they release. Sure, they fuck up here and there, but for the most part, they're one of the few companies still putting out AAA games that are consistently awesome. And also, lastly, yes, there are and have been small handfuls of teams truly dedicated to the art of crafting video games for no other reason than they fucking love to do it. And seriously, thank God for them, because I don't know where the fuck we would be without any of them. But sad truth is we're losing more and more every day. Last year alone, just off the top of my head, we lost Bethesda and Blizzard. Blizzard, which I thought was never going to go that way. I thought Blizzard was going to remain true to their values and everything for at least a long foreseeable future. Obviously, how fucking wrong I was. And, you know, it's not going to be long until there's practically no companies like that left. So, wake the fuck up. These games, these AAA games, are not good on purpose. I'm not saying don't buy the microtransactions or, oh, you know, fucking everyone rage against pre-order culture. No, I'm saying don't fucking buy them at all. None of them. Stop. That's the only thing that has a prayer of making any sort of change. Now, do I think that it really will, or that people will really heed that advice? Probably not. No. So, enjoy what's left of the AAA video game industry while you can, because it's all going to be fucking Candy Crush or reskinned to look like Call of Duty in the future, boys. Get used to it. So, it's been a PSA for y'all from Shanghai Pete and your boys over at Degreelessness. Be safe out there.